Good afternoon, I'm Rob Boskamp, and you're listening to South Texas Midday. The first ever One Water Summit will bring together nearly 350 water and wastewater professionals at the American Bank Center tomorrow and Friday. While not a public event, this professional conference is a collaborative effort between Corpus Christi Water, Texas American Water Works Association, and Water Environment Association of Texas. The summit will feature expert panels on crucial topics including water reuse innovation, drought response strategies, desalination, and more. An added benefit for attendees is the opportunity for engineers and operators to earn up to 10 credit hours from the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality toward their professional license. Funded entirely through sponsorships, all proceeds from the event will benefit Mission 911. Meanwhile, recently elected Victoria City officials were officially sworn in during yesterday's council meeting. Council members Andrew Young and Mark Lofgren gave their oaths and official signatures to begin their terms as the council seats for District 5 and District 6, respectively. Mayor Dwayne Crocker also had his official swearing in for the second time in 2 years. City Manager Jesus Garza also confirmed that the Victoria Firefighters Association reached their petition limit to get a proposal for a collective bargaining agreement on the November ballot. The council also approved a few purchases involving community first responders. The city is looking to acquire 9 Ford Explorers for the police, 3 pumper vehicles for the fire department, and 4 ambulances for emergency services. In a crime stat briefing given to Corpus Christi City Council in April, CCPD highlighted a rise in crime involving men between the ages of 15 and 25. KEDT's Emily Salazar followed up with local officials about what's being done to address the issue and what more they say is needed to prevent it.
Despite a rise in juvenile crime in Corpus Christi, the city's Crime Control and Prevention District Board does not currently allocate any of its available funds toward juvenile crime prevention programs. Formed in 1997, the Crime Control and Prevention Board approves how CCPD can use money raised from the 8-cent sales tax for crime control and prevention. Board member Dr. Isabel Araiza explains.
There are 5 areas that we can target our resources towards. It's to fund additional police officers in high crime areas of the city, to decrease the incidence of criminal offenses associated with young offenders, to provide preventative measures to break the cycle of gang recruitment and violence, to reduce citizens' fear of crime, and to further the police department's ability to fight crime by adding technological enhancements and new equipment.
For the past 2 years, the tax has raised roughly $9.3 million annually. Araiza, who served on the board for 3 years, says in recent years, the funds have been approved for CCPD to hire more police officers, purchase technology tools like drones, and repairing police vehicles. During the Crime Stats briefing to Council on April 8th, CCPD Chief Mike Markle said this kind of investment is the most effective way to prevent crime.
I understand you like programs, but I'll say it till I fall over dead. There's no better crime deterrent than an officer in uniform and a marked car in your neighborhood.
Still, CCPD has partnered with the Nueces County Juvenile Justice System to address youth involved in crimes like car theft, which spiked after a trend on TikTok in late 2023. John Millam, Deputy Director of Special Programs with the Juvenile Justice System, says the agencies work together to create the Day Reporting Program. It requires young offenders to report twice a week to the Juvenile Justice Office, meet with the surveillance officer, learn mental health skills, and perform community service.
All with the hopes of them hopefully realizing, what they do not only affects their safety, but that of those others in the community.
Araiza says she'd like to see the Crime Control and Prevention Board expand its focus to support more holistic programs, like those offered at the county level.
In the ordinance, it actually says that the goal is not just to do traditional policing, that we could come up with creative ways to address the issues and ultimately enhance everybody's quality of life. Some evidence-based programs have been like theater programs. We could hire a social worker that could work with young people who have experienced traumatic events.
Millam agrees that more after-school programs can help keep kids out of trouble.
But pro-social activities, I agree wholeheartedly with her that we've got to expand the community's different options available for these kids. I think expanding those services and maybe finding more creative ways to have these kids engage in other things other than just being alone at home.
The Crime Control Prevention District Board's next meeting is scheduled for 2 p.m. Wednesday on the 6th floor of City Hall. For KEDT News, I'm Emily Salazar.
During yesterday's school board meeting, Mercedes ISD school board trustees approved a consolidation plan to reduce the number of campuses from 10 to 8. The district says the decision is due to a drop in enrollment of over 700 students in the past 6 years that's led to less funding. Under the plan, Harrell Middle School will become an elementary school, and students will no longer be attending classes at Zachary Taylor and John F. Kennedy elementary schools. As of yesterday, staff members have not been laid off or reassigned, and the district said they don't know yet what will become of those two schools. Traffic will be disrupted on East Red River Street in Victoria beginning today for utility work. East Red River Street between North Depot Street and North Cameron Street will be reduced to one lane in each direction for 3 days from 8:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. daily. The city advises motorists to look for different routes to avoid delays and to use caution and obey all signs and barricades in the area. Saturday marks the 3rd anniversary of a gunman killing 21 students and teachers at Uvalde's Robb Elementary School. Among the often reported but seldom explored facts of the tragedy is one key finding of a special Texas House Committee investigation. Bailouts occurred so often that Texas lawmakers found the issue contributed to school officials' delayed response to the shooting. The term bailout describes when drivers in a high-speed chase stop the car or crash to run out and escape. Those pursuits aren't as frequent anymore, likely because of the shifts in federal policy and migration trends. But as KERA's Toluwani Osabamuo reports, residents in the Uvalde area are still dealing with layers of trauma.
Sarah Reyes and her husband are from Del Rio, but they find themselves in Uvalde often for cook-offs like this one. It's part of a special scholarship fundraiser for McKenna Elrod Seiler. Seiler was a 10-year-old Robb student killed in the shooting. Reyes remembers visiting the shell-shocked town afterward. She also remembers a time before that, when car chases and bailouts seemed to be the region's biggest concern.
Border Patrol choppers were all day, all night, non-stop. With their spotlights in our backyard. We have a little RV. They would ask probably once or twice a week if they could check our RV, make sure nobody broke in. It was really scary.
Robb Elementary sent out emergency alerts nearly 50 times months before the shooting. Bailouts prompted an estimated 90% of those alerts. Local law enforcement says the drivers who bailed out were often suspected human smugglers traveling with people without legal status. Uvalde Police Chief Homer Delgado says any person might take an offer to transport people for what they believe is easy money.
That money's hard to turn down, especially with our economy the way it is. And if you can make a fast $3,000 to $5,000 by transporting 4 people, you're driving home anyway.
Businesses and property are also at risk during these pursuits. Caleb Hill does ranching and hunting work in Bracketville. He says drivers in pursuits would plow through the fence and gate at the ranch where he works.
We already have enough problems with other things when it comes to ranching, so to have to deal with consistent repairs and fixing things all the time, on top of everything else on the day-to-day, it was frustrating, very frustrating.
And these pursuits, as always, can be a deadly endeavor for all involved. As of January, at least 115 people have died in Border Patrol-involved vehicle pursuits since 2010. That's according to the American Civil Liberties Union of Texas. Other reports find hundreds more have been injured in police chases at the border, including innocent bystanders. Small engine repairman Mario Valdez says it's a lot to heal from.
Through all this ordeal, especially in the Robb incident and the chases that the people have suffered either a loss of somebody that passed away or they've been injured, we're healing. It's a slow process coming together as a community. That is very important.
For some, the fault lies solely with people going to dangerous lengths to escape law enforcement. Others say stricter border enforcement and department policies without enough restrictions on chases are to blame. Here's political science professor Brad Jones from the University of California, Davis.
With increased restriction and restricted entry at ports of entry, history's shown us that migrant crossers or asylum seekers will take greater risks to get into the country.
Pursuits have been on the decline since last year. Delgado, the Uvalde police chief, says he expects they'll rise again as agencies pursue past and current human smuggling warrants. But he says dealing with pursuits, especially after the mass shooting, taught him to take a trauma-informed policing approach.
That's why we try to keep these pursuits out of town, because any little thing that we can do to help our community get better. And if that means making sure that we don't have any lights and sirens and things flying through town, which no town wants, but especially ours, we try to do our best to keep it out of town.
If nothing else, he says that goal remains the same. I'm Toluwani Osibamowo in Uvalde.
In state news yesterday, the Texas House unanimously passed a bill to raise the state's homestead exemption from $100,000 to $140,000, a move aimed at lowering Texans' property taxes. The legislation will cost the state an estimated $2.7 billion through August 2027. Like the homestead exemption increase that passed legislature in 2023, this one also includes a hold harmless provision that ensures school districts don't lose funding due to decreased tax revenue. But before the final passage, Representative Mike Olcott, a Fort Worth Republican, introduced an amendment to raise the exemption even more, from $140,000 to $160,000, using money from the state's $24 billion budget surplus.
My amendment will allow for a greater amount of that money, that $24 billion, to be used for property tax relief, and I think we need to support this.
The House did not support the amendment. The measure now heads back to the Senate for that chamber's approval. And that is the latest news and information on South Texas Midday. I'm Rob Boskamp. Your community arts calendar and more is on the way.